Olvera Street is the oldest part of downtown Los Angeles, and although some call it the birthplace of Los Angeles, in reality, well, it's close. Originally near vineyards and a winery, the street was either called Wine Street or Vine Street. In 1877, Wine or Vine Street was officially changed to Olvera in honor of the county's first judge, Augustin Olvera, who lived on the street. The turn of the century brought with it neglect, decay, and disrepair. With the neglect came the city's forgotten, the poor working immigrants. Many of the city's unemployed gathered in the plaza. And it became a hotbed of radical politics. Enter Christine Sterling, a wealthy, young, well-connected socialite from Northern California with a hunger for history. When Christine first discovered Olvera Street in 1926, she was shocked by the dilapidated condition of the oldest part of the city. Where once had stood the city's finest buildings and cultural center was now a hideaway for prostitutes and street crime. Old Olvera Street had a date with the bulldozers, but Christine would have none of that. She envisioned a Mexican marketplace and a cultural center in the heart of Los Angeles to preserve the memory of old LA. Christine's romantic vision brought Los Angeles' first street back to life and brought in Mexican-American merchants to sell their wares, artifacts, and celebrate their fiestas as they would in Old Mexico. Although I could delve into the hotbed issues and controversies that occurred during this time in Los Angeles, for the sake of this video, we'll be focusing on the history of this street. The humble alleyway was given new life by Christine Sterling with the help of historically minded Angelenos and some cash from Los Angeles Times owner Harry Chandler. Sterling had a dream to restore the rundown area at the heart of what was Sonora Town to a romantic vision of a Mexican colonial Los Angeles. At first, she pushed only to save the Avila Adobe, the oldest building in the city, but the grassroots movement Sterling started eventually worked to cover the entire plaza. In the late 1920s, with financial backing from Chandler and rather unusual assist from Police Chief James Davis, who provided convict construction crews, the area was reborn as a tourist center on Easter Sunday, 1930. On Easter Sunday, 1930, Sterling's romantic revival came to pass with the opening of Paseo de Los Angeles, which later became popularly known as Olvera Street. Touted as a Mexican street of yesterday in a city of today, Olvera Street was an instant success as a tourist site. Today, the 44-acre El Pueblo Historic Park is a colorful Mexican marketplace lined with street vendors, cafes, restaurants, and gift shops selling handcrafted goods, Mexican folk art, and the expected tourist items made in China. There are 27 historic buildings with a traditional Mexican-style plaza area. Tourists from around the world wander around the marketplace smelling the ever-present taquitos and tacos at the outdoor cafes and listening to the strolling mariachi music and dance performances by Aztecs and Mexican folkloric dancers on weekends. Olvera Street in downtown LA is an awesome beacon of Mexican-American culture that is always lively and fun to explore. The entire area is called El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument, and it takes up multiple city blocks in downtown Los Angeles, since it's right across the street from Union Station. Olvera Street hosts the city's first church, firehouse, and theater, in addition to the Avila Adobe and the other historical sites and residents, roughly outlined by Alameda and Hill Streets, Cesar E. Chavez Avenue, and the 101 Hollywood Freeway. On the other side of the plaza is the Pico House. Pio Pico was the last Mexican governor of California from 1845 to 1846, and his house was the first hotel in the city. In its center lies the old plaza, the symbolic heart of Los Angeles. The Avila adobe at 10 Olvera Street was built in 1818 and is the oldest surviving residence in Los Angeles. It was built by Francisco Avila, a wealthy cattle ranchers. Its adobe walls are 2.5 to 3 feet thick. This was actually my second visit to this historic location. Although tourist sites, or websites, say to give this place about 1 to 2 hours of your time to completely immerse yourself into the experience, I was able to do so in about 45 minutes or so. Located at the heart of El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument, Los Angeles Plaza Park, aka Father Serra Park, is a site of numerous festivals and celebrations. Built in the 1820s, the plaza was at one time the city's commercial and social center. The plaza has 3 statues of important figures in Los Angeles history. King Carlos III of Spain, the monarch who ordered the founding of the Pueblo de Los Angeles in 1780, Felipe de Neve, the Spanish governor of the Californias, who selected the site of the pueblo and laid out the town, and Father Junipero Serra, founder and head of the Alta California missions. The plaza itself is a monument to Los Angeles' original 44 settlers and the 4 soldiers who accompanied them. A large plaque that lists their names and later plaques dedicated to the individual 11 families were placed in the ground encircling the gazebo at the center of the plaza. The best time of the year to be on Olvera Street is during El Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead festival, but even if you go during the rest of the year, there's still a bunch of fun places to explore. The street is always lively and usually full of people, and if you like Mexican food, it's a good place to visit at lunchtime. They have a little restaurant that makes and serves fresh churros, or churros, and they can be a little pricey at $3 each. Parking can be a little hard to find on a busy day, and I ended up parking in a parking lot next to Olvera Street. They charge $2.75 for every 20 minutes. The ambiance is definitely touristy, but I still thought it was quite quaint considering it is in the heart of a city surrounded by skyscrapers. It reminded me of the Alamo in San Antonio, minus the river. There's definitely a lot to look at, even though it gave me that swap meet vibe. Not that there's anything wrong with swap meets, I love them. I think the whole area is very colorful, and I really like the brick-lined, tree-shaded blocks, and it's host to many shops, restaurants, and other businesses. There are quite a few restaurants in there, but I only had a churro. And speaking of churros, I went down into the old winery, which was a winery from 1870 to 1914. Down below, you can buy a churro in the little restaurant, or use the restrooms, or look at the historic pictures of Olvera Street. As I continue walking down the corridor, there are more and more restaurants on your left-hand side. It seems like there are a lot of little markets everywhere, and some look like they would be hard to get into. There is also a 50-minute historic walking tour of El Pueblo de Los Angeles every Tuesday through Saturday at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and noon. I checked out the menus at the restaurants and the prices aren't too bad. Maybe I'll come back to eat one day. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.